morning, I'm Pauline Verzosa. It is Monday, the 16th of February, and we're bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Now let's get to the stories that matter today. 8 former and current officials, including Senators Bong Go and Bato de la Rosa, have been officially named as co-perpetrators by the ICC prosecutor for their alleged roles in the Duterte drug war. But former Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II and Senator Bong Go have dismissed the latest ICC findings as baseless and inaccurate. Bong Revilla Jr. faces the Sandigan Bayan anew as the court attempts to finally arraign the former lawmaker for his alleged role in a non-existent flood control project. And the Department of Education has proposed a shift to a trimester system for the 2026-2027 school year. The agency aims to minimize disruptions while allowing students more time for assessments and enrichment activities. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. And now first on the agenda, key figures linked to the International Criminal Court's investigation into former President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs are pushing back against the allegations. They deny involvement, insisting the accusations are baseless as legal proceedings at the ICC move forward. Here's the report.
Senators Ronald Bato de la Rosa and Christopher Lawrence Bong Go are among the 7 individuals named by the International Criminal Court as alleged co-perpetrators in the crimes against humanity case linked to former President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs. Also listed in the ICC documents are former Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre III, former Philippine National Police Chiefs Vicente Danao and Oscar Albayalde, former NCRPO Chief Camilo Acascolan, who has since passed away, former NBI Director Dante Giran, and former PDEA Chief Isidro La Peña. Based on ICC documents, Duterte allegedly led a common plan with his co-perpetrators to neutralize suspected criminals involved in illegal drugs through violent crimes, including murder, from November 1, 2011 to March 16, 2019. The ICC also detailed the alleged roles of the officials in the bloody war on drugs. Senator De La Rosa previously served as Davao City Police Chief before becoming PNP Chief from 2016 to 2018. Senator Go, meanwhile, served as Duterte's personal aide from his time as mayor of Davao City until he became president. According to prosecutors, during Duterte's mayoral period, he and Bong Go allegedly used members of the Davao City Police and non-police hitmen, collectively referred to as the Davao Death Squad, to kill suspected criminals. During Duterte's presidency, the ICC said he and his co-perpetrators allegedly used a national network, including low-level members, to carry out the crimes under what was described as a common plan. Senator Go has denied the allegations, saying these are unfounded, one-sided, unfair, and have no relation to his role and responsibilities as special assistant to the president. He said he merely performed his duties in accordance with the law and with the intention of helping Filipinos, particularly the poor and vulnerable. Go added that the accusations will not distract him from his responsibilities as a duly elected senator and that he remains focused on public service. Former PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde had earlier said in a March 2025 interview that he is ready to face the ICC.
Yes, we are preparing for this, of course, no? Kailangan talaga nating piniprepare ito. Pero kung talagang, sabi ko nga, kung talagang isusubo tayo ng gobyerno, then wala po tayong magagawa. Kasi after serving this country for almost 38 years, kung ito po ang isusukli ng ating gobyerno sa atin, wala po tayong magagawa.
For ICC Assistant to Counsel Attorney Cristina Conti, the identification of Duterte's alleged co-perpetrators shows what she described as a lack of accountability under the previous administration. She added that if arrest warrants are issued and enforced, and suspects are surrendered to the courts, separate cases will be opened before the ICC. For Mamamayang Liberal Party List Representative Laila De Lima, a known critic of the drug war, justice is now catching up with those behind the deadly anti-drug campaign.
Time and again, we warned these people, even from prison, that this day will come. Like Duterte, they did not listen. Mayayabang pa sila. Panahon na ng pagpapanagot sa pagpatay sa mga kapwa Pilipino. Oras na ng pagbabayad sa mga krimen laban sa sangkatauhan.
At present, Around 500 more alleged victims of the war on drugs have applied to strengthen the case against Duterte. From February 23 to 27, confirmation hearings will be held to determine whether there is sufficient basis to proceed with the case against the former president.
Meantime, the exchange of heated statements between Philippine officials and the Chinese embassy continues. Mamamayang Liberal Party List representative Laila de Lima said it was ironic that a Chinese embassy spokesperson could freely express his views in the Philippines, something she said would not be possible in China. In response, Chinese embassy spokesperson Ji Lingpeng said de Lima's remarks were wrong and unhelpful. Meantime, maritime law expert Professor J. Batong Bakal said the Chinese embassy's actions could be considered interference in the Philippines' domestic affairs.
Kung titignan natin, no, lahat ng ibang embahada, whether it's Canada, US, Japan, etc., kahit nagkakaroon tayo ng mga matitinding issue tungkol sa kanila, tahimik sila. No? Bakit? Kasi alam nilang pag sila ay pumasok sa ganong usapin, parang panghihimasok na yan. Kumbaga off-limits talaga sa kanila yan, kung totoo silang diplomat.
Yes. A Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, rejected claims that transparency efforts are provoking China.
We're not pumapalag in a way na we're provoking or escalating the tension. We choose not to be silent about Chinese aggression.
And now in other news, the arraignment of former Senator Bong Revilla is scheduled for today at the Sandigan Bayan. That's after being postponed twice due to pending motions related to his malversation charges over an alleged ghost flood control project in Bulacan. And for more details, we have our mobile journalist Arles de los Santos reporting to us live this morning. Arles, what can we expect today? Okay, Arles, sorry. We're gonna have to double check your audio kasi naka-mute ata. So, let's try to fix that and check it again.
Pauline.
Ayan. Go ahead, Arles.
Pauline, ngayong araw nga ay nakatakda na humarap dito sa Sandigan Bayan si dating Senador Bong Revilla kaugnay ng manumalyang flood control project sa Panti, Bulacan na nagkakahalaga ng 92.8 million pesos. Nandito na ang dating senador at dumating pasado alas 7 ng umaga para yan sa 8:30 arraignment na nakatakda nga para sa isa sa mga admisyon dito sa Sandigan Bayan. Pero alas 6 pa lamang ng umaga, Pauline, ay dumating na dito ang mga taga-suporta ng dating senador mula sa Bacoor at iginigiit nila na inosente daw si Revilla at kabukod pa dyan, bakit daw kung sino pa yung promotor at may control mismo ng mga maanumalyang flood control project na ito ay siya pa ang naging state witness. Bibigyan ko lang kayo ng mabilis na tour dito kung ano yung sitwasyon dito dahil hawak nila yung panibagong set ng mga placard na naglalaman ng kanilang mga panawagan. Kagaya na lamang nang hindi ka nag-iisa sa laban, Senador Bo, kasama ka namin. Gayon din dito sa dulo andyan yung walang kasalanan sa Senador Bong Revilla, gayon din kung bakit daw si Revilla ang iniipit at lalabas daw ang katotohanan. Kaya dahil dyan, Pauline, mataas na din yung seguridad dito at hinarangan ng mga pulis. Ito yung unang beses na pumwesto dito yung mga pulis para harangan nga itong mga ito. Para nang sa gayon ay hindi nga ito makapasok basta-basta. Kasama sa kanilang isinisigaw, usigin daw si dating DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo dahil ito raw yung may sala at bakit daw ito ginagawang state witness. Pauline.
Arles, balak ba ni former Senator Bong Revilla na maghain ulit ng panibagong motion sa kanyang arraignment today? Kasi alam naman natin, 2 beses na na-delay itong arraignment. So, may nakausap ka ba sa kampo ng dating senador?
Wala pa tayong nakakausap, Pauline, mula sa kampo ng dating senador, pero matatandaan natin na mayroong motion na kanselan o hindi pinagbigyan ng Sandigan Bayan itong dating senador kaugnay yung nais niya na mag-inhibit yung Senior Associate Justice Carl Miranda patungkol doon sa malversation case dahil daw kapatid daw nito itong si Buenaventura Miranda na nagsilbi naman bilang counsel ni dating DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo nang humarap ito sa pagdinig ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Ayon sa Sandigan Bayan, kulang yung alegasyon lamang ni Revilla na sabihin na merong conflict of interest o bias ito at kulang daw ito sa mga ebidensya para nga patunayan yung allegation nito. Kaya hindi yan napagbigyan ng korte at aabangan natin ngayong araw kung makakaroon pa nga ba ng panibagong motion. Matatandaan din natin na sa graph case ni dating Senador Bong Revilla ay hindi siya naghain ng not guilty or guilty plea at Sandigan Bayan pa mismo yung nag-file niyan o yung nagbigay niyan dahil ayon sa kampo ni dating Senador Bong Revilla, naniniwala daw sila na hindi nabigyan yung due process at mga bigyan nito ng pagkakataon na makita at masagot yung mga kaso laban sa kanya, no, dahilan kaya para daw may mga motion to quash sila na i-final para sa gayon makancel nga yung sinang pangkaso sa kanya dito sa Sandigan Bayan.
Okay, so Arles, pero walk us through the process na lang kung ano yung mangyayari today sa arraignment. Alam natin na yung dun sa mga co-accused ni former Senator Revilla dito sa kasong ito, sila Bryce Hernandez, JP Mendoza, di ba nag-plea na sila ng not guilty. Dito sa mangyayari kay former Senator Bong Revilla, kung sakaling maghain din siya ng not guilty plea, ano yung next steps dyan?
Kapag naghain ng not guilty plea, Pauline, no, ang expected natin ay magpapatuloy na ito doon sa pre-trial nga ng kaso patungkol dito sa malversation case, no. Kanina nakita na rin natin na dumating yung kapwa mga akusado nito na dating mga opisyal ng DPWH ang Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office. 8:30 na naka-start nakatakda na mag-start yung trial dito at abangan natin kung ano nga ba yung magiging development ngayong araw dito. Pauline.
Okay, so we're gonna let you monitor that for now. Thank you very much for that update. That was mobile journalist Arles De Los Santos reporting live from Quezon City. Don't go away. We will be back with more stories right after this break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning and welcome back. I'm Pauline Verzosa, and here on Morning Matters, we talk about the most pressing issues and we give you the context behind the headlines. Well, as we know, several officials named by the ICC as alleged co-perpetrators in the Crimes Against Humanity case linked to former President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs have denied the accusations. Those identified in ICC documents include Senators Bato de la Rosa and Bong Go, former Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre III, former PNP Chiefs Vicente Danao and Oscar Albayalde, former NCRPO Chief Camilo Cascola, former NBI Director Dante Giran, and former PIDEA Chief Isidro La Peña. The ICC alleges a common plan to carry out killings of suspected drug offenders from 2011 to 2019. But some of those implicated insist the allegations are baseless as confirmation hearings and possible warrants are being awaited. And now human rights lawyer Neri Colmenares joins us to discuss the latest developments in the International Criminal Court. Good morning, attorney, and thanks for being here on Morning Matters.
Thank you, Pauline. Good morning to your viewers.
Okay, so attorney, the ICC prosecutor has now named 8 incumbent and former officials, including Senators Bato de la Rosa and Bong Go. And just from the victim's standpoint, how significant is this development?
Oh, this is very significant because in the first place, the prosecutor actually named 9. The prosecutor named 8. But the 9th is other high-ranking PNP officials and government officials. So that also opens it up to other co-perpetrators later, maybe in the regional level, regional PNP. So very significant because President Duterte is a co-perpetrator. Therefore, he needs a co-perpetrator too in order to commit the crime. So, and then you're right, they devised the common plan and became members either of the DBS during the mayoralty period of the president and later on part of the national network. That's what the prosecutor said during the presidential campaign. So it can open up a new list of co-accused and warrants of arrest and of course charges.
I think Attorney Cristina Conti also clarified this, Attorney, that this is not the first time the ICC released this document containing the charges. It's just that last time, a lot of the details were redacted. Tama po ba yun, Attorney? And what does the unredacting of names signal this time around? Does it indicate that the ICC now has stronger and more sufficient evidence against the co-perpetrators?
Yes, Attorney Conte is right. The first document, which is the DCC, the document containing the charges, only redacted the names of the 8. But of course, the other PNP officials was also there. Therefore, we knew for a fact that it will expand later on. So yes, for us, there has been a level of evidence achieved, and that's what I think happened here. The prosecutor has now named the other co-perpetrators of Duterte. And for us, there are victims who may have personal experiences with these other co-perpetrators, not just President Duterte, but the way it was implemented nationwide. So the other victims are also welcome in that sense. That is the other significance of this, because the other victims can now come out also and say, yes, this particular police chief did this, killed somebody. So now meron na silang parang isang mukha na pwede nilang sabihin, iyan ang responsable sa pagpatay ng kaanak ko.
But Attorney, with more names now out in the open and some even still in public office, does that mean they will automatically face charges? Will charges follow? Could they be actually facing arrest warrants from the ICC now that they've been named as co-perpetrators?
Well, the ICC has not announced anything. So the ICC is very strict as to level of confidentiality. It may be presumed that because the investigation seems to have arrived at a certain level wherein they were already named, it can be presumed, of course, that a request for a warrant of arrest is forthcoming. But actually, we don't know that. It's something that the ICC would know, and we will only be aware of that once it's executed here, as in the case of President Duterte. The ICC, under the rules, under the Rome Statute, has what is called the pre-indictment warrant of arrest, meaning to say, there is still an investigation ongoing, but the ICC felt that a warrant is necessary, then it can issue the same. So, I really hope that the confirmation of charges hearing will result positively on the part of the victims, meaning to say the charges will be confirmed. Doon lang kasi magkakaroon ng linaw kung may additional warrants na. Siguro, ito lang tingin ko lang baka naman iniisip ng ang ICC, hintayin muna natin ma-confirm. Kung ma-confirm, tsaka natin itugtong yung iba na, ilabas na natin yung warrant kung sakaling ma-confirm sa February 23.
Well, on the part of Senator Bong Go, he already denied the accusations, calling them baseless, Attorney, and even a former Justice Secretary, Vitaliano Aguirre, gave his side and denied his involvement in this so-called common plan. Sabi pa nga po niya, he was even an instrument in the search for justice of some of the victims, and that lawyering for the president is not a crime in itself. What do you make of that, Attorney, and what would the prosecution need to prove if they want to prove the liability involvement of the co-perpetrators?
Well, the prosecutor has alleged first, of course, that there is a common plan. And the members of the common plan are these people. The second is President Duterte has provided logistics and weapons and funds to fund the entire operation. So anybody who may not have participated actually in the shooting but helped in the giving of logistics, funding, can be actually a co-perpetrator. The second is the prosecutor mentioned creating a system of impunity wherein the perpetrators are allowed to go scot-free. Now, this could involve the Department of Justice, right? So they are not being prosecuted, etc. So that forms the other co-accused, the Justice Secretary in this case, may be implicated on that particular aspect of the common plan. There is, of course, the third aspect, which is ordering and disseminating the policy on the list and so on. Anybody who participated in these, these activities of President Duterte could be charged also. Now, it must be noted that President Duterte made a lot of admissions. In fact, sometimes pointing to his co-perpetrators, di ba? In public. So that is the problem of the co-perpetrators, because President Duterte has practically admitted so many things and pointed to some of them actually that I guess that is the main gist of the evidence here, and it is up for the co-perpetrators to say, yeah, we were part of that system and network, but we didn't know about it, we didn't do it, or whatever. But the fact is the prosecutor has now a firm belief that a system of impunity and a structure and a policy, a widespread policy all over the country is there. And any one of the 8 co-perpetrators may be part of that policy, structure, and command. So, yeah, I guess that's, I think, the basis of the prosecutor there.
Well, the document containing the charges did elaborate on this alleged structure of power and the chain of command. Right, attorney? They even said that the former President Duterte sat at the apex and exercised de facto authority over police units and alleged hitmen. But is that enough to establish criminal liability, especially in the threshold of the ICC in establishing crimes against humanity?
Yes, that's enough. In the Philippines, you have the equivalent of conspiracy here. The agreement of one is, of all binds the other, the others who agreed to the plan, so to speak. That's conspiracy here. They call it, co-perpetrator there. But it's the same thing. If you were able to prove in the Philippines that this person met with another person, they discussed the killing of a third person, and then they decide to do it, that's conspiracy. So the same thing with the ICC. There is a common plan, you all agreed with it, and you started killing people, and you decide to commit it, and you provided logistics, you provided a system of impunity, etc., then you will be really liable, not just in the Philippines, but even in the ICC.
But for crimes against humanity, attorney, I understand that intent and knowledge are quite vital and crucial. What if the defense, okay, so let's anticipate some of the defense arguments that they can raise here. What if they argue that the campaign was a legitimate anti-drug operation and that any deaths, any killings were just unintended excess? How would that play out?
Yes. The crime against humanity requires na may intent ang perpetrator, of course. Pero ang definition naman ng ICC ng intent or command responsibility for that matter ay yung aware ka ng nangyayari tapos wala kang ginawa. It is within your power pero wala kang ginawa. So halimbawa, Chief PNP ka, nagpapatayan sa buong Pilipinas, tapos yung mga nire-report ng mga kapulisan mo, wala kang ginawa na hindi mo, itolerate mo siya. So, pwede ka pa rin dyan. Hindi na ganun ka, ganun ka parang direct na i-prove mo na wala talaga akong knowledge. Alam mo, ang intent difficult to prove eh. It is proven by your actions eh. Kaya, para sa amin, yung intent, they will claim it of course doon sa kaso. I think the prosecutor may depensa. Pero ito, Duterte mismo lang muna. Si Duterte, ayun kasi siya ang topic ng confirmation of charges eh. I don't think he can ever claim na wala siyang intent. Hindi pwede talaga yun. Yun munang madadali dyan si President Duterte. In fact, I've always said, kung ikaw ay abogado ni President Duterte, mahirapan ka kung anong ebidensyang ipipresent mo sa trial para sabihin wala kang kinalaman sa drug war. Talagang mahirap yun. Kasi ang dami niya ng pronouncements he made a lot of pronouncements and so on. And para sa akin, pag-trial na, kaya niya dinidelay nga ni President Duterte, dinidelay niya ng dinidelay, ayaw niya mag-trial. Reverse siya doon sa ibang mga inosente na pag nakakulong ka, gusto mo speedy trial, di ba? Para makalabas ka na. Siya, baligtad eh. Hindi tayo mag-trial. Kasi tingin ko alam niya na pag may trial, mahirapan na siya. Mahirapan siya mag-present ng evidence para ipakita na wala siyang intent. Hindi niya alam yon, wala akong kinalaman sa drug war. Siya ang punot dulo ng drug war. So, pag si President Duterte ay nadiin na, yung mga ibang perpetrators, yung members, dali na sila doon because member sila nito at pinatupad nila yung plano at policy ni President Duterte.
Well, we are exactly 1 week away from the confirmation of charges hearing. That's on February 23. And former President Duterte has already been deemed fit to stand trial and is expected to attend this hearing. Attorney? What are some of your expectations and some of the expectations na rin po ng mga victims?
Well, for us, the expectation, of course, is the prosecutor will provide the arguments and the evidence to say that please confirm the charges so that trial can ensue. Kasi hindi magkakaroon ng trial pag hindi ma-confirm ang charges. The victims, of course, with the legal representatives will, of course, also argue na confirm the charges and go on to trial. Of course, we don't know how the defense will conduct itself during the confirmation hearing. We don't know what arguments it will raise, but I'm sure we're ready for it. And it has been a long time. This is the Kens lost their loved ones in 2016, 2017. It's now 2026. And we're still in the confirmation of charges. The ICC kasi gives a lot of emphasis on the due process rights of the accused. Pinagbigyan talaga, President Duterte was given a lot of these due process rights. Kaya na-delay. This was supposed to be September 2023 last year. At February 2026 na ngayon. So, kasi lagi silang motion. So, kaya ang ICC naman pinapakinggan at dinidesisyonan. Yun lang, natatalo sila sa motion nila kasi hindi naman pwede talaga para sa amin. Hindi naman pwedeng unfit for trial. Hindi mo lang malalak kung saan mo nilagay yung susi mo Because he may not know the names of the people, the 49 victims or the 72 whatever victims. No longer, but doesn't mean you're not responsible for it. This is a widespread and systematic attack against civilians. And you claim any claim, I don't remember that incident, I don't remember the name, I don't remember the person, I was supposedly murdered, doesn't mean you're unfit for trial para sa amin. So, I guess we'll see how it goes because the ICC has the pre-trial chamber nag-decide na on the jurisdiction issue, nag-decide na on disqualification of so many prosecutor, judges, nag-decide na on interim release, nag-decide na on fit for trial. Sana naman, hindi naman sana, I'm very sure matutuloy talaga ang February 23 and confirmation of the long-delayed confirmation of charges will be completed hopefully in February 23 so that now we can focus on the trial itself. That's when the trial ensues. President Duterte will be the first Asian to be tried in the ICC.
And just as a final question, Attorney Neri, is there a sense of vindication, validation, especially for the victims in how the prosecution is framing and pursuing the charges against the president? And can we expect some of the victims to also personally attend some of the hearings over at The Hague?
Yes, well, of course, yes, the victims felt vindicated in a sense, and that we're seeing the hope here. It's not yet finished, it's not yet complete, pero may konting ilaw na. So that's the good thing for us, because we've been waiting for justice for nearly 10 years now. So that's a good thing, and we really hope na trial will ensue kasi doon lang naman nila malabas ang kanilang ebidensya at kanilang kwento sa trial kung paano walang awa at karumal-dumal na pinatay yung anak nila. Walang awa Ngayon yung sila President Duterte pang humingi ng kawaan nyo naman kami. Maawa ka nga naman, but justice has to take its course. Ako naman, hindi naman ako cruel na klaseng tao pero hindi pwedeng. Ikaw nga, wala kang awa, alam mong awang pinatay yung mga kaanak, yung mga biktima Tapos, walang abogado, ikaw nga, may abogado ka pa Ikaw nga, may pera ka ang mga anak mo, makakadalaw sa iyo anytime. Yung mga biktima, hindi sa sementeryo na lang nila dalawin ng anak nila So, na lang, sana maintindihan ng lahat. This is really a battle for justice and to make sure that this thing will not happen. This will not happen again in the Philippines. Mas yun ang message ng ICC case. It's not only for the victims, for the Filipino people also, so that we may not suffer the same kind of killings that we have suffered under President Duterte.
All right, well, we're going to leave that there, but thank you very much for sharing your insights with us this morning. That was human rights lawyer, Attorney Neri Colmenares. Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, do stay tuned. Morning Matters will be back after this short break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. The Supreme Court has been asked to cite Senate President Tito Soto for indirect contempt. A group of lawyers and a private citizen known to support the Dutertes filed a petition saying Soto's remarks criticizing the High Court's ruling that voided Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment were disrespectful and undermined the court's integrity. The petitioners argued Soto's comments went beyond legitimate criticism and could interfere with judicial proceedings. Soto earlier called the ruling a judicial overreach and suggested possible constitutional amendments on impeachment rules, but has yet to comment on the petition. And the Department of Education is considering a trimester system for the school year 2026-2027 to improve learning continuity and to ease teachers' workload. The 201-day school year would be divided into 3 terms with time for assessments, remediation, and teacher planning. DepEd also plans to integrate national and cultural observances into lessons to minimize disruptions. Meanwhile, the agency has granted up to 5 days of annual wellness leave for teachers and non-teaching personnel to support mental health and to improve workplace conditions. And now let's get more insights from Teachers Dignity Coalition Chairman Benjo Basas. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Morning Matters.
Yes, Ms. Pauline, good morning po. Good morning sa mga nanonood na nakikinig sa akin.
Okay, so first of all, ano po ba ang posisyon ng Teachers Dignity Coalition when it comes to the DepEd's plan to have a trimester system starting this school year 2026-27?
Well, unang-una, of course, our initial reaction ay medyo parang abrupt naman. Parang napakatalino, wala pang kwelo. And it was not even one of the recommendations of the EDCOM. While, of course, yung EDCOM, may mga nakita sila na may maraming mga holidays na tumatama doon sa ating school year, overburdened yung teachers natin, which somewhat consistent with the DepEd's rationale for the shift to trimester system. Pero yun nga, para sa amin, baka naman biglaan ito, baka kailangan natin ng widest consultation possible, baka kailangan natin ng mas malalim pa ng mga pag-aaral, more time, we have to give more time to this, especially ito, hindi ito simple. Imagine we've been using this system of school calendar for how long? A century perhaps, di ba? Tapos eventually biglang suddenly ay babaguhin. So we call on the Department of Education to really study this proposal, of course, to consult all the stakeholders, especially our teachers and parents.
More consultations, more dialogues. But speaking of dialogues, Sir Benjo, kayo po ba ay nakausap niyo na yung mga kapwa teachers niyo po? Is there optimism, hesitation? As you mentioned, medyo abrupt nga, So, in your opinion, what would be a good timeline to implement this? Should we postpone it at least for another year?
Yes, no. Mukhang kailangan natin isang buong taon ng consultation kasi right now po tayo ay nandun na sa fourth quarter, no. Nasa last quarter na tayo ng ating school year, no. So tapusin natin ito, no, and then incorporate natin yung iba't ibang we just have to include the remaining days of the school year plus the school break, no, na itong summer, no, and then pagbalik po natin isama pa rin natin yung school year 2026-2027 doon sa consultation. Kami naman ay hindi naman totally tutol, sabi nga namin po doon sa aming statement, anything na gusto nating baguhin sa ating system, baka kailangan natin lagi nating uunahin yung welfare ng ating mga guro kasi baka naman pag hindi ganoon baka naman hindi ito maipatupad ng maayos o hindi magawa yung kanyang supposed intention. Marami na tayong experience sa ganyan, Ma'am Pauline. Napakarami na nating reform initiatives na ginawa sa DepEd na magaganda naman talaga yung intention pero in the end hindi natin nakuha yung supposed objectives po nito. Like, for example, this K-12 program, di ba? Kaya sabi po namin dapat talagang magkaroon ng mga masusi, malaliman, comprehensive na mga pag-aaral and consultation. And of course, wag nating iiwan yung rights and welfare ng ating mga teachers po.
But on the part of the DepEd, sir, sabi nila this will allow more continuous learning periods and even better pacing of lessons because a trimester system would mean shorter and more focused terms dahil nahati na nga siya sa 3 term, But do you see that as really improving nga yung pace ng pag-aaral ng mga estudyante?
Well, meron naman po tayong mga experience, at we could cite some models po sa mga universities na nagagamit naman yan. Meron tayong ilang university sa atin mismo sa Pilipinas na talagang malayo na. I mean, matagal na nilang ginagamit itong trimestral na system. At maganda naman, Kaya sabi ko nga po, hindi naman po tayo dito magsasara, di ba? So long na magagawa po natin. Especially kasi may kita ng DepEd dyan, pasok sa ating school year po, Ma'am Pauline, yung mga Christmas break natin, minsan umaabot ng Holy Week break, yung ating undas, yung mga fiesta. So, lahat po nang yan ay talagang tinitignan din naman. And in fact, sa EDCOM report, nakita rin naman po ito na napakarami nating mga disruption sa ating pag-aaral sa mga bata. And even before the EDCOM po, nakita na rin naman ito, yung mga local and national holidays, nakaka-apekto ito. Mga mandated ng mga activities din, nakaka-apekto ito doon sa pag-aaral ng mga bata. And with that rationale naman, we share, of course, the rationale of the Department of Education. Po.
And on top of that, sabi rin po ng DepEd, this could even lower yung administrative burden for teachers. So, are you looking forward to that? Is that something realistic nga po, sir?
Sa ngayon, hindi pa rin kasi namin talaga makita kasi yung administrative tasks, actually wala na nga yan, supposedly, as per DepEd, existing DepEd rules, dapat wala na yan, Ang meron na lamang ngayon yung mga teaching-related tasks. Those are not strictly administrative, di ba? Yung paggawa ng mga lesson plan, everything that is teaching-related naman po talaga ay part, tinuturing namin na part ng aming trabaho, Baka mas ang kailangan pa nga, again, babalik ako doon sa aming premise, baka mas kailangan tignan talaga ng DepEd ay bawasan, yung workload ng mga teacher, yung teaching load, kasi right now, Ma'am Pauline, ang policy pa rin ng DepEd is to maximize the 6-hour actual classroom teaching, which is really burdensome, kasi aside from actual classroom teaching, yun yung time is spent with our students, hindi classroom setting. Meron pang mga kaakibat po yan, na mga non-teaching tasks, o yung tinatawag ko po kanina, na mga teaching-related tasks. Siyempre, gagawa ka ng lesson plan, you will check the exercises, the tests, the quizzes of the learners, po. Ang dami po niyan. Gagawa ka ng grade at the end of every quarter. So, mabigat. So, pag marami kang hawak na sections, marami kang hawak na klase, napakabigat po niyan. At experience po natin, again, i-relate yan sa mga universities, no? Sa tertiary and even some private basic education na institutions, no? Kapag meron kang mga ganyang mga trabaho, may additional compensation po yan. No? So yun yung tinitignan namin sa DepEd. Napakaganda po no, nung sinasabi po ng DepEd dito. Pero kailangan po natin natignan ito, no, yung mga basics po no, dito sa ating system po. No, yung mga talagang pinaka-urgent na pangailangan both ng bata at ng teacher.
And that was actually one of the recommendations, diba, sir, nung EDCOM report to reduce na rin yung teacher workload. But sabi nyo nga po, no, kung mag-shift tayo to a trimester system, baka naman masyadong abrupt, lalo na kung i-implement na yan this coming school year. So for you, sir, ano ba ang mga low-hanging fruits na maaari nang ma-implement ng DepEd as soon as the coming school year?
Well, una, syempre, no, yung with the DepEd's budget, no, na napakalaki naman talaga, no, baka kailangan na nga natin, no, na ma-reduce, no, yung teachers' workload. Kasi, Ma'am Pauline, hindi naman din, kahit pa sinasabi ng DepEd, no, na may mga ilan, no, at least, no, dito sa field natin, may sinasabi na may mga teacher na underload. Hindi naman yung underload, Sinasabi lang na underload, no, dahil hindi nga umabot ng 6 hours yung kanilang turo. And we keep on, of course, no, we keep on hiring naman, new teachers. So, like for this school year, di ba, ang target natin is, if I'm not mistaken, around 30,000, if my memory serves me right, 30,000 teachers. Ibig sabihin niya, 30,000 teachers po scattered, no, across the schools, no, nationwide. Ibig sabihin po niyan, malaki pong kabawasan ito. Ibig sabihin, yung mga teacher doon sa isang school na nagtuturo, no, ng taglimang teaching load. Abay, pag may pumasok na pangatlong teacher, no, yung dalawang teacher na may taglimang teaching load, pag may pumasok na pangatlong teacher, abay, mababawasan yan. Pwede na lamang silang magturo ng tagkatatlo, no? Yung isa with sacrifice, 5, 4 yung kanya. So, those are the, I would say, no, yung mga bagay po, no, na ngayon ay talagang tangible na, no, at doable, no, at this point. Of course, we won't ask, no, well, at this point again, no, we won't ask for a salary increase, no, but that is our supposedly immediate, no, demand, no? But strategic, alam naman po natin ito, no, kasi tapos naman na yung budget, di ba? Pero the DepEd could actually impose, no, some policies po, no, na may kinalaman even, no, dito sa welfare or even dito sa mga benefits of teachers na pwede niyang gawin even without legislation. Yun na lamang po yung sa tingin namin ay pwedeng gawin ng DepEd to ease the burden of our teachers po.
But at least one thing that the DepEd introduced or is planning to introduce, sir, is itong bagong annual wellness leave for teachers and non-teaching personnel na up to 5 days every year, and that's to support the mental health and to improve workplace conditions. I'm sure this is a welcome development for the Teachers Coalition, sir.
Yes, of course, no. But that is actually the order, no, is actually, no, released, no, to implement an earlier CSC resolution, no, providing 5-day wellness leave, no, for government employees. No? So medyo na-delay pa nga kami sa DepEd, but at least, no, meron na kami yan ngayon. We have to take note, Ma'am Pauline, na ang mga teacher po natin, public school teachers, wala po kaming sick and vacation leave. No? Kaya po lahat ng oras na magkasakit kami ay mababawas po yan sa aming sweldo. No? Kaya itong wellness break po na ito, wellness leave po na ito, no, ay napakagandang development ito. Kasi hindi ka na kailangang magkasakit. No? I mean, of course, no, wellness or mental health, no, is of course a part of our general health. No? Pero dito hindi kinakailangan sipunin, hindi ka na magkatrangkaso o makonfine, So, somewhat even a declaration from you, no, na kailangan mong magpahinga because of mental strain or whichever reason, ay pwede na itong i-allow. No? Kaya naman maganda po ito. And we think, of course, that CSC for providing this, and of course, our Department of Education, for ensuring, no, that teachers will enjoy, no, this benefit po.
Well, we look forward to more consultations, more dialogues regarding this matter. But for now, thank you very much for your time and for joining us. That was Teachers Dignity Coalition Chairman Benjo Basas.
Thank you, ma'am. Maraming salamat.
Don't go away. We still have more matters to discuss right after this break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Now on to the weather. Several weather systems are expected to bring rain across several parts of the country. And joining us now is Pag-asa weather specialist Benison Estareja. Good morning, Benison. Ano ba ang pwede nating asahan pagdating sa panahon?
Good morning, Ms. Pauline. Sa ngayon po, we have the shear line affecting the eastern section of northern Luzon, particularly Cagayan and Isabela. We're expecting cloudy skies with scattered rains and isolated thunderstorms over those areas. Aurora and Quezon, asahan din po yung mga kalat-kalat na ulan at mga thunderstorms dahil naman yan sa easterlies o yung hangin po galing sa may Pacific Ocean. And yung amihan or northeast monsoon po, mahina sa ngayon. Nakakaapekto sa may extreme northern Luzon at magdadala po ng mga pulu-pulu lamang ng mga pagambon over Ilocos Norte, Apayao, Batanes at Babuyan Islands. Ang Metro Manila at natitirang bahagi ng bansa is partly cloudy to cloudy at may tsansa pa rin po ng pulu-pulong pag-ulan lamang at mga localized thunderstorms. And so far wala po tayong namamataan na anumang weather disturbance sa paligid ng Philippine Area of Responsibility at wala pa rin tayong nakataas na gale warning sa ngayon. Yan muna latest mula dito sa Weather Forecasting Center.
Alright, Benison, how long can we expect these rainy conditions to persist?
In some areas po, we're expecting today and tomorrow, medyo maulan pa rin dun sa may eastern section ng northern and central Luzon. Pero pagsapit po ng Miyerkules hanggang Biyernes, mas maraming lugar dito sa may eastern Visayas, sa may Bicol region, Caraga region, and then mga nearby areas pa sa Visayas and Mindanao, magiging maulan din po dahil sa shear line.
All right, well, thank you very much for that update. That was Pag-asa weather specialist Benny Estareja. Now, in other news, the Bureau of Immigration arrested a 30-year-old Mongolian national in Zambales last February 12 for alleged espionage activities. The operation took place at an aviation school in Barangay Lipay, Dingin after the BI tagged him as an undesirable alien for posing a risk to public interest and safety. Authorities said he reportedly conducted aerial photography of Iba Airport and the nearby Palawig River near the disputed Scarborough Shoal. He is currently held at the BI Warden facility pending deportation. And now in sports, the UAAP Women's Volleyball Tournament is off to a fiery start this Valentine's weekend with powerhouse teams making strong opening statements inside the Mall of Asia Arena. The details in this report from our mobile journalist, Denise Valdesancho.
Love is in the air this Valentine's volleyball as the UAAP teams take on their opening weekend. The UP Fighting Maroons started strong, beating the UE Lady Warriors in 4 sets, 25-12, 25-9, 21-25, 25-19 on a Saturday inside the Mall of Asia Arena. Aira Haboneta led with 14 points, while Cassie Dongalio added 13 against her former team before exiting early due to back pain.
But unfortunately, we still have some problems, some issues with the focus. UE is a good team. They work hard and they proved it, taking the third set. So we need to grow up. It's the first game, so we allow the girls to be distracted in one moment, but it won't happen again, trust me, because they're gonna hear me later.
The DLSU Lady Spikers also made noise with the straight setter win over the FEU Lady Tamaraws 25-19, 25-14, 27-25. Team captain Shavana Laput delivered 23 points, including the clutch hits in the tight third set, while Angel Canino chipped in 15.
I think it shows that we're a team that wants to win. We're a team that wants to redeem ourselves. And for the past 2 years, at least for Angel and I, we have come third and we have come second. It only makes sense that we come first now.
Over on a Sunday, the Adamson Lady Falcons dominated the Ateneo Blue Eagles 25-19, 25-18, 25-10. Shaina Netura scored 16 to power the Lady Falcons' impressive season debut. Netura praised her squad's collective effort to seal the win.
Thank you, Lord, sa panalo. And thank you, Lord, din kasi provide niya kami ng tao, which is yun nga, yung mga teammates ko from high school. Yun nga, sabi nga namin, since then, back in high school, that's the plan already, to be complete in college.
Defending champions NU Lady Bulldogs meanwhile survived a tough test from the UST Golden Tigresses 25-23, 25-19, 23-25, 26-24. Rookie Sam Cantada exploded for 21 points, scoring 7 of NU's last 10 points to usher in the post-Bella Belen and Eliza Solomon era.
Of course, I am very happy and overwhelmed because we got through a very strong team. But, you know, it's still not the end. It's still going to be a very long journey. So we just have to prepare all the time and we just have to put our feet on the ground.
Kapatid Denise Valdesancho, we are One News.
And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you just the right start to your morning. Let's make the day matter. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time.